Hey guys, it's Mrs. Goss again, and we're going to be learning today about political ideology and government in your life. By this point in time, you've hopefully already completed the political ideology exercise and done a reflection on whether you feel that this ideology best fits what you believe about your views on the American government. And we'll be talking a little bit today too, as well as to why that is exactly important. To begin, we're going to start off though by talking about the definition of political culture. Political culture is a patterned set of ideas, values, and ways of thinking about government and politics. Political culture is something that is instilled in citizens in a country, typically from a young age. I'm sure that you remember back in elementary school learning about the American flag, the colors that made up the flag, the significance of those colors, perhaps participating in some type of patriotic assembly like the students shown in this photograph, learning basic things about our government, like who our president is, and so on and so forth. And so all of that is political culture. And the political culture of America is centered around democracy. Of course, you remember what democracy is from our lecture yesterday. People obtain political ideology and political culture through a process called political socialization. Political socialization is the process by which beliefs and values about politics are transmitted to new immigrants and to children, to people who may not have previously known much about the political culture and ideology of America or any country in which they are seeking to obtain knowledge about the political system. People get socialized politically by agents of socialization, and they're kind of like sports agents, but for the political realm. Agents of socialization include family, the educational system, as well as the press. And you could also, of course, count into there as well one's peers. Family is the most prominent agent of socialization. Think about it again back to when you were a young child. Who did you spend most of your time around? It's likely your family. And so, therefore, you're going to grow up, and even if your parents don't talk much about politics, there will likely be at least some mention of our political system that you can link back to in your childhood. Of course, then, beginning in kindergarten, when you enter the educational system, you begin to learn about our government through classes at school, as well as other methods of educational exposure. And then certainly today, the press, including electronic media such as Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram, all offer outlets of political socialization for American citizens. So that brings us back to that term we started with at the beginning of class, political ideology, something you explored in the Google Classroom activity. What exactly is political ideology? Well, quite simply, it's a closely linked set of beliefs about politics. What that means is that if you tell me one thing that you believe in, it's likely that I or any other political scientist would be able to link it to other beliefs that you may have. Of course, if you fall within two different realms of socialization and ideology, you might not be a direct fit, but here's a great example. Think about your beliefs on abortion. If you're pro-life, meaning that you do not support abortion as a choice, it is likely that you might perhaps be more religious, that you might view yourself as someone who's incredibly patriotic. You might be in favor of the death penalty. You might also believe strongly in personal responsibility and having to answer for your choices. And you also might be in favor of increased military spending. If you're pro-choice, meaning that you support a woman's right to choose in the instance of abortion, it's quite likely that you're also opposed to the death penalty, that you might also be in favor of social welfare programs like the Affordable Care Act, that you might be opposed to increased military involvement, and also believe perhaps in increased government regulation of businesses. The two political ideologies that I just described were our two major groups of political ideology. The first was our conservatives. Conservatives, often called Republicans here in the United States, believe in limiting government help for individuals. They also believe in the promotion of traditional family values, two-parent families, strong religious beliefs, attending church, etc. They often identify as being patriotic, and believe in privatization or less government control. They also believe in individual responsibility and being responsible for one's personal choices. They have a tendency to be pro-life, pro-military, and again, espousing of what we would consider to be traditional values here in American society. On the other side of the spectrum, we have our liberals. Liberals typically believe it's the government's responsibility to help improve the welfare of individuals. They outwardly identify as being more supportive of civil rights and tolerant for social change. They also believe that it's the government's responsibility to redistribute income amongst citizens. And part of that may be through economic support and or regulation of the economy by the government. They also have a tendency to be pro-choice, again, supporting a woman's right to choose in the instances of abortion. We lay these beliefs out on something known as the political spectrum. Liberals are on the left and conservatives are on the right. You might have heard the terminology left wing or right wing, and that's where these terms come from. Those that are moderate have a tendency to be in the middle and may sometimes support one party and then in another election support another. And again, with moderates, they may register for Democrats or Republicans. Very famous example of a moderate is Colin Powell, who at one point in time was a member of George W. Bush's cabinet, but then in the 2008 election supported Barack Obama. Keeping in mind our various areas of political ideology, we also want to think moving forward about the changing face of America, because this is going to shape how politics are carried out in our country. We have an increasingly aging population known as the baby boomers, which are individuals born between 1946 and 1964. These are individuals today that are in our senior citizen or approaching senior citizen category. These are also our individuals who are most likely to vote. We have an increasingly growing population through both births and immigration. And with that, we also have a changing ethnicity. And so as our ethnic groups shift and change in our country and our population grows, the demands that are placed on the government are also changing. There are also more women in the workforce, which brings into question governmental policies towards things such as maternity leave and also equal pay for equal work. Our society is becoming much better educated. More and more people are obtaining 2-year and 4-year college degrees and also graduating from high school. And we're also seeing lots of social change in the realm of things such as same-sex marriage, as well as our most recent policy affirming the ability of individuals who are transgender to join organizations such as the military. And so as we explore government this semester, these are some additional things that I want you to keep in mind because we are certainly having a lot of very significant changes happening, and those are going to impact the way that politics are carried out.